Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Sit and Kick podcast. I'm your host, David Ribich.
And I really am your better host today, Josh Kerr. Today, we're sitting and kicking it with a raft of ex-Ducks. Just for the listeners, that is the correct name for a grouping of Ducks. Anyway, these guys are pretty big names that come out of the NCAA in the last year. But fear not, I know you're worried that none of them branched out and they're still represented under the swoosh. So it is, of course, Charlie Hunter, Cooper Teare, and Hocker. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing well.
I think we need to start by roasting Dave a little bit. I feel like that's a good way to start. Dave, you're a disgrace, mate. We have worked hard. We've probably done about 30 episodes, and this has never been a problem. This is a big episode for us. We've got some big names, really hot media kind of stuff, and you just turn up late. What's that all about?
Well, there's a few things, when you're off getting engaged and you're off changing time zones and complaining about your workout from yesterday, you put me in the spot to then write the script, start the podcast recording, edit the videos, edit the graphics. So it's like when I ace everything and then have one little slip up, you never let me live it down. But for you, slip ups come naturally. So I'll take the banter. And yeah, I think we can just get this started because I'm not really here for the shit talk, Josh. I'm here for the good quality conversations with Charlie, Cooper, and Cole. And apparently it was a good year to name your kid with the letter C because all three of these guys are going to be all alliteration for when I'm speaking. But let's get through it. Josh, where are you guys all situated? You guys, you're in an island, right, Cole?
Oh, I hopped off. I'm back in Eugene now.
Do you guys live in the same house or no?
No, it's like a street away. Walk away.
Me and Charlie live together, but Charlie's also decided to kind of jump ship. So now we got an extra room. So we're taking suggestions on what to change his room into while he's gone.
Hey, I'm still paying rent, so it's my room.
That money's going right into my pocket.
How'd you get roped in to continue to pay rent? What's that all about?
I mean, I'm still gonna keep it. Just I'm on a camp right now in San Luis Obispo. But yeah, I plan to come back. So I don't do anything to my room.
You won't know we did anything.
I was gonna say there's squatting rights that'll come into play at some point, mate. You never know, there'll be a wild David Ribich sitting in your room for a bit.
Josh, you literally go for it, Charlie. I don't want to talk to Josh.
As long as you water my plant, that's fine.
We can make that happen.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back a bit. We'll go back and work forward. So let's go back to 2020. So, Oregon have always had great success. But do you think there was more of an attitude change or physical change when it came to the new coaching that led to such a strong breakthrough for you group of guys as a team? What do you think?
Cooper, you got it.
Oh, no, I don't know if there was necessarily like an attitude change or anything. I mean, Ben's a great coach, and like it was definitely a shift from the Powells. Love the Powells, but they just work in very different ways. And then having that along with just like the teammates, and I mean, personally for myself, just getting older and a little wiser with training and the things outside of it, and then having someone like. I didn't necessarily work out with Charlie too much. He's way faster than me when it comes to like that like shorter end stuff. So me and Cole were kind of, ripping some of the longer reps and, having someone, I feel like I got a little bit humbled. Just like, I felt like I was kind of at the top of like Oregon track and field. And then Cole came in and just like immediately showed me that maybe I'm not. And I think we kind of worked together and that helped us. And I think there's a lot of outside things, like I don't want to like give props to it, but like things like Westfly, I'm sure you guys have seen their YouTube channel, but them just like talking shit and be like, oh, we're gonna like it's duck hunting season, all that stuff. And then like I think that just like things like that where I think it was hilarious. We had like a little target on our back, and then we'd come in, and I have the funniest picture of it's like a screenshot after our DMR last year. They were saying they were going to beat us. And then there's a screenshot of Everett Smolders with like his hair over his face, like looking emo. Like they really had to go drop a world record on us. So there's always some justification on why they get beat. But shout out to those guys also. But I think it was just like everyone in the NCAA sort of stepped up. And And for us to continue to want to be, that top program, we had to step up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think, there's always the talk about the spikes and the talk about, all the new tracks and all that. But I think there had to be something to do with, like, no one was in class. Like, collegiate athletes became pros pretty quickly and then became better than pros for like 6 months. And it was the funniest thing in the world, because you've got a bunch of American 50 meter runners that are not doing very well, and then a bunch of college kids that are running faster on them. And personally, I find that one of the funniest things, being a Brit, and I'm sure the Aussies would have loved that as well. But do you think I'll probably talk to Charlie on this one, but do you think there was just a level of like, okay, we don't have to go to class, we're living that pro lifestyle now, maybe that's why that step up in the NCAA's happened? Like, do you think there's any knowledge to that, or do you think it's just kind of, that's just the way it went?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as you said, we were living the pro life. Like, I can speak for Cooper and Colin, myself, and like, we were doing the absolute bare minimum in the classroom. It was a training camp. We were living in a training camp. We had Hayward Field down the road. I think Hayward Field probably played a fairly big role in our success, because we had a year of no facilities, and as much as like the facilities don't make a difference, they do, like, to an extent. And just to have our own like home base, I think we appreciated it a lot. And like every day you were rocking up to the track felt great, and we just kind of got on this great momentum train, and just, I don't know, we just kept feeding off each other. And yeah, you're not totally bound by schoolwork or any other real commitments. So we just really got this consistent block of just smooth training. And yeah, and when you got guys like us that are kind of like-minded in what we want to do, we're not there to just like be lane fillers. I think we all had very high ambitions, and when you're around like-minded people like that, it just really helps keep things moving forward, and there's a healthy competition between everyone. And it was actually like, it was a highlight for me. Like, it was an unreal year, and just every race just seemed to top itself. So it was pretty cool.
I want to make sure that the point is made that, Josh, this isn't a revelation of people not going to class. You didn't go to class when school was in session. So don't make it sound like, oh, this is a big thing for these guys now not having to go to class, when you've literally said, I did the bare minimum at UNM and cheated also to try to get my degree. You just finished your master's degree after like 6 years going through it. But we're going to take it off of you, and we're going to continue on. So like, Cole, when it came, because like when we had you on after the indoor year, we were like, Jesus, like, this guy is on one. Everyone here has just, you guys had the DMR, you guys had the 3K, you guys had the mile, you guys had the mile there at Arkansas. Like, literally, you guys were on fire from start to finish through the year of 2021. And so for you, Cole, you came onto the scene really in December, when we had Cooper on to talk about that 5K down at Sound Running, and you were in Heat 2, and you and Centro went to the line. And like, that was the first time that your name was ever really brought up in a discussion. And all of a sudden you're the face of 1500 meter running for 2021 for the US. Like, what was that transition? Because in indoor season, you said you wanted to make the Olympic team, and that was still, I don't know how long that was, like 3 months out, and you never lost momentum. So what was that whole year in like one Cole Hocker statement?
Yeah, I feel like going back to like the fall, where we were getting to, we all came back to the university, and we didn't have in-person class, and it felt like that training camp. That's when I first started. It was my freshman year. I would get dropped by Cooper in like any really hard session, and same with Charlie and all the other top guys. And then my sophomore year, that fall, I was like starting to hang on with Cooper. And that was just like a big thing for me mentally, just like knowing like I can do it. And he just finished fifth or sixth at NCAAs the year before in cross. And so I was like, that's like a path right to the top of the NCAA. If I hang with him, I can kind of like leapfrog over all these like barriers I thought I had to go through, like first get All-American, then get top 20, then like, I was like, this is a clear path. Yeah. And then going into that indoor season, I think it's funny you mentioned like the super shoes and stuff. Like we were running really fast times, and there was those discussions like, okay, like new technology doping, whatever. But I just think we backed it up so well because I mean we won every event we were entered in, the distance team. It's not like we were just running fast times. Like we were still the best at our event, and I don't know. I think that was saying a lot for what we were doing at the time. And then as far as like the momentum goes, just continuing on to, I mean, indoors is obviously a big boost mentally, and then it's kind of nerve-wracking when you take a little downtime and you go back into the outdoor season, kind of wondering where am I going to be at. Did a couple of races like 15s that felt pretty hard. I was in like we were in pretty deep training. Yeah, and then I was getting I got beat by Cooper and Negus in that 1500, and I don't know, it just happened so fast, and like one race after another of just like absolutely sending it. I mean, we did 2 races back-to-back races with the intention of getting an Olympic standard time, which was just so hard. And I mean, came up short on both of those, but it's okay. And just that like constant flow of just like super tactical races, I think, or not tactical, but just like intense races, just like allowed for that momentum not to really fizzle out, because I didn't really have time to think.
Yeah, and it's funny that you talk about like the whole like shoe doping conversation and things, because Josh wrote this question out on our really, really rough script. But it's like running is pretty black and white. Like you have times, you have people who beat other people. And it felt as though through the whole year, the collegiate system was kind of in this like shadow of doubt where they're just like, oh, they're just running these fast times now. They're not gonna be able to carry that momentum for the Olympics. And like, certainly as a professional, that would like we'd have that conversation around training camps, around workouts, like, oh, they're running fast now, but can they hang on? And obviously you guys did. But this was something that I wanted to follow up with on any of you, and you guys can answer this, but in my opinion, growing up in the state of Oregon, I always followed Oregon track and field. Like it was, I'm not going to say dream school because I chose Western Oregon University. I chose Division II. But U of O was always like this big, like far off, not dream. But I would arguably say that 2021 was the best collective year for the middle distance team at University of Oregon in terms of like the accolades, the records, the things that you three and all those around you accomplished. Like it's pretty absurd when you speak on from January 1 to end of the Olympics. Like, I don't think there's a class you could almost argue with the Weeding, Greer, and Centro era, but I mean, you guys put on a show. It was literally Oregon Ducks versus pros versus the world. Like it was really cool to see as an Oregon fan. But now that you guys are pros, I have to, like pummel you guys into the ground, and I'm totally okay with that. But would you guys say that there's any era of Ducks that would outweigh your guys' season?
We actually had talked about this a little bit before, like going into indoor season, or at least I had, like to kind of etch our names into the like Oregon history books. And I felt like there was no reason we couldn't do that. Obviously, there had been great classes and individuals and teams, like that 2019 with like Galen and Centro and Weeding and all of them, and kind of that whole like early 2000s era. But I don't think, I mean, I don't want to like toot our own horn, but I don't see why not, like why we wouldn't be one of the top classes. If you look at it, you can go back and you can look, and we got school records, we got world records, we got national titles. I feel like we did kind of everything you need to do. I wish we had cross country. I think that would have made maybe a little bit more of a point, because like that 2009 team did win like cross country, and then they came and killed on the track too. But if you look, we got the indoor record in the mile, outdoor 5K. I think Cole has the outdoor 1500 now. Charlie's top 5 all time. And these are like you said, this is such a historic program that goes back, 50 plus years, almost 100 years actually. And I mean, just the names that have come through are like undeniable. So having, I feel like 3 guys that are able to go through and in their respective event be on that, top 3, top 5, even school record list. I feel like those times speak for themselves, and people will say, yeah, like, okay, maybe 50 years ago they didn't have dragonflies, and that's okay. Like, but the thing is, like, you have to change with the times. Like, it's not like we're gonna go back and run in some dress shoes with some spikes in the bottom of them. Like, that's just not realistic. So we're just, doing it with what we have access to. And yeah, I mean, props to these guys. I feel like it didn't just come easy from, having access to maybe better facilities or better shoes. We still had to work for it.
Yeah, I think, I don't want Dave to be licking your guys' ass for the next hour, so I'll put my efforts in. I think I would say that I would probably had the last NCAA record for dress shoes, but we can talk about that another time. But so when the season was going on and you guys all kind of went pro at similar times but slightly different times, like, when did that start becoming a conversation for you guys? Because obviously you're not allowed to talk about it with agents or things like that, but it's always going to be a talk in practice. Like, when did that come up being like, look, we're running times that are faster than pros, we're running times that are up there for getting good, strong contracts? Like, Charlie, when did that conversation happen for you, that you thought that was more of a reality than a dream?
To be honest, it probably started a year prior to 2021, because you got to remember, Coop and I were, and maybe not Cole at that point, but Coop and I were already knocking on the door of, like, we were gonna eventually go there. Like, we went 1-2 at Boston running 3:55. We had already started to beat some pros and races. Like, we were already, like, laying the foundation for, like, that's where we were gonna head. But yeah, probably as soon as the indoor season started, and because the first race we were just straight out the bat, like, running pretty quick, it was obviously, like, yeah, it was gonna happen. So it's a weird thing, like, this whole process. It's a dark science. No one really tells you what to expect, and everything's very secretive, and, like, just no one tells you anything. So it's very weird. But I just reached out to someone that I kind of knew. I got as much information as I could get about the whole process, and it's an incredibly slow and grueling process, and it pisses the hell out of me. But I don't know, you get there eventually, but geez, it takes a long time. There's not much you can do. It's really up to them at that point. And maybe it's a bit different for Coop and Cole, but really it's just up to the brand. Like, I was just at the mercy of the brand. Like, I was just waiting for them to kind of come to me a bit with the contracts.
I mean, we've spoken about this a lot, myself and Dave, but I think there's got to be a band together from some pros to just put a fucking slideshow together or something, just being like, this is what is going to happen. Like, these are the things to look out for. There's going to be bullshit left, right, and center. It's going to take some time, and you're just going to have to wade through the shit to find what you want and what truly you need. Is it location? Is it money? Is it length of contract? Is it reduction clauses? Like, those are the things that are taboo to talk about, or if they're not taboo, no one wants to fucking speak about them. But it needs to be said from our point of view. So yeah, I think that hopefully is something that we do in the future, because it is a horrible process. Like, it should be fun, but it's not fun. Like, I look back thinking, that should be a lot of fun. You got brands like fighting over you, you know what I mean? You got brands who want them, you to run in their singlet, but it just seems to be super stressful. So that kind of sucks. But how do you guys feel like your lives have really changed? Because I know that some of you guys are still in Oregon. Like, how's your lives kind of changed? You guys got degrees yet, or what?
I do. Or my life hasn't changed at all. It's like the weirdest thing is, like, coming back here, and every day I feel like I have, like, an assignment due. Like, I'll be talking to Reed after practice, like, I gotta back do homework. I was like, fuck, I gotta do homework too. I'm like, wait, no, I literally don't have to do anything. It's weird. Now now I'm doing the exact same thing, except I don't have to go to class and I'm getting paid. It just got, like, a little bit nicer. And I'm sure, like, for Cole, it's a little different. I was, like, pretty much done at the end of my schooling anyway, so I was pretty checked out. but Cole's got a little time to go, so I'm sure that was a nicer relief.
Yeah, I've been telling people the same thing. They're asking me how's the pro life. I'm like, honestly, I mean, we're still living in like college houses. Nothing's really changed. It's kind of like same old, just putting your emphasis more on this. Like, you have to treat this as a job. I have to keep telling myself like, this is like what I'm paid to do now. And I mean, I like that idea, obviously, because I don't know, I can spend like extra 30 minutes stretching out, or I don't know, do whatever. And yeah, since I'm not at the end of my collegiate like academic career like Cooper and Charlie was, I'm sort of in a point now where I'm figuring out how much emphasis I want to put on school versus running. And it is an interesting dynamic, but not the biggest fan of school, so definitely have some relief right now.
So you guys, with Cole, you still being in school, Cooper, you're kind of being, I guess, done, but there. What is your guys's, I guess, next step? Like, will you guys still have some active role within the University of Oregon programming? Because I know that one route that pros typically take to have access to facilities is they'll go on to the assistant coaching route, volunteer, so they can still stay under their college coach and or use the facilities of the school. Charlie, I know you've had some stuff sent out with Union Track Club and all those types of things. So what's your guys' next big move? I mean, Cole, obviously you're going to be an island boy. I'll make another reference to that. But are you guys staying in Eugene? You guys bouncing around? What's going on there?
Yeah, so me and Cooper are both in Eugene now, and my current role is like, volunteer assistant coach. I think we're just trying to keep it right now, just take out as many variables as we can and just keep just a smooth transition, because it's already like, I don't know, it's a weird time when you're not on the collegiate schedule. And me and Cooper were just talking about the things you kind of realize now that aren't there for you, and that you kind of have to just pick up on your own and make it happen. And so just like, like finding a PT person, like getting massages, stuff like that. And if I don't know, speaking for Cooper, but I mean, it kind of want to fight to stay in a good training facility, like as good as Hayward.
Yeah.
That could be difficult to find.
I think Cole's pretty content with being a volunteer assistant. I have an action plan to become head coach by 2024, if all goes to plan. But yeah, no, we'll be around here. It's kind of nice because it's like such an easy transition from like college lifestyle to like the professional lifestyle. Like literally nothing has changed, so it is, I have more time to focus on those little things. And yeah, it kind of sucks not having them just tell you, okay, you have a massage on Monday 3. Like now we kind of have to figure some of that stuff out. But I think it's nice. There's just a little more responsibility, and these are the things that you have to do when you're kind of working independently outside of like a group. So yeah, it's kind of a fun thing to do, and we got some other stuff in the works that we can't really disclose right now, but we're plotting some stuff, so be on the lookout.
I like it. So obviously, Charlie, you went a slightly different route, and that's obviously you're with Union Track Club now. So what made you go to the more group setting, and what are you excited about with that group?
Yeah, the primary reason why I was looking for a change was because I wanted to get out of that college lifestyle, really. I'm someone that kind of values altitude training and, I don't know, having a bit more independence, because I'm a bit older than these guys. So like, I don't know, I came to college quite old, and I kind of wanted to get out of that scene. And as much as I enjoy being with these guys and the success I've had with Ben, it's all familiar, but I just felt I kind of wanted a different setup. And when I got the opportunity to join Union Athletics Club and run with Donovan and Craig, like I just thought, yeah, that's a smooth transition. It's a pro group. I'll pretty much be getting the exact same aid and assistance I'll get with Oregon. It's more of a senior group. That's all. That's the way I thought about it. But pretty much it's the exact same setup. you're just doing camps, and it's really the exact same. You're just doing camps, and that's something I couldn't quite do at Oregon. But so far I'm loving it. It's great. I think I'm learning a lot from these guys too. As Cooper kind of said earlier on, like I didn't do a whole lot with Coop and Cole because they're just a bit more of that strength side. We'd still do like 70-80% with each other, but it was come the track workouts, I wasn't really with them. But now, like, I'm getting demolished by Donovan in strides, and I got Craig, who's definitely going to tear me up on the tempo. So it's just like that next level, I feel, for me. And it's a good balance of both speed and endurance. So far it's working well, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
When you guys are doing those strides and stuff, do you let Donovan know and Craig know that you're the only Olympian in there, or what?
I'm thinking about it. I want to get my tat, so then like every time I take my shirt off, it kind of reminds them, gives me like something to strive for.
That's what you're looking for, isn't it? Tell the Americans what it's like to go to the Olympics. That's
I
class.
feel like they'll put me in my place pretty soon though. Donovan's world champ, so like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Just tell him how like the Olympic Village was and stuff that he doesn't know about, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So when you guys were in, those conversations with the companies and things like that, you hardly see Oregon kind of go to other companies. Like, why do you think that is?
I can start. I mean, I think you see a lot of, I don't know. I mean, us three are all individual national champions. And I think, that's the highest you can get in NCAA system. And so like kind of high caliber Oregon guys, I don't know, but I think that other companies just assume, oh, they're going to go with Nike. Like I don't know, Nike's already been in their ear for like 2-3 years, even if that's not true. Like, I feel like that's the outsider perspective. That's kind of why I think it's like that. But there's a lot of, I don't know them as well, but guys that are older than me that have gone to other smaller brands from Oregon. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think with like what Cole was saying, just us. I mean, when you're one of those, top guys, national champions, Nike, you're at a certain point when you're a Duck, you are sort of seen as a Nike. It's an extension of Nike at a certain point. And when you're, putting on for that brand and you're winning national titles, and then you're doing well at trials and you're doing things outside of that, they want to keep it within the family. And I think, you're essentially part of that Nike family already. And they want to, when they see something they want, oftentimes they'll get it. And, they have the resources. And obviously, we're Nike guys running it all throughout college. So it's familiar. And I think it's kind of a culmination of all of that. I think we all none of us were completely set on like, okay, I'm only going to Nike, right out of the gates. But at the end of the day, like they take care of the things that they want. And, the guys that are really valuable. And I think for all of us, they sort of made it worth our while. So I'm just grateful for them. And I think, it is kind of an assumption that people make. And it's not necessarily that way, but at the end of the day, like they make it worth our while, and it's sort of a mutually beneficial relationship. So I see I see why we end up staying with them.
Yeah, no, I mean, in all actuality, it does seem like that extension, but in a good way. And I know, Cole, when we had you on, you would say you would have signed with Sit and Kick over Nike, and no hard feelings there. Our contract must have never come through, but
yeah, I must have had my high school email or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll make sure to get an updated mailing address from you so we can further conversations of wearing our apparel at some point. Right. But with you guys, especially Cooper, it seems like you're very involved with like the next generation of runners. And it's something that I also try to brand myself with, and appreciate you guys sending me in your PRs for high school. Pat Casey roasted me on Twitter, didn't even tag me or at me. So who cares about Pat anyway?
What do you say?
He said something like, you're not a pro runner unless you send your PRs to David. Totally get that, easy roast. But he didn't tag me.
He's still pro. Or did he lose his contract?
I'm gonna go ahead and say he lost his contract again.
Was he ever pro?
We love Pat Casey. I have a great
Pat
Pat Casey
Pat
story.
Casey has one of the best Twitters, especially when he talked about still going to the bars in Eugene after not making it to the trials. That was that one blew up.
He's a seasoned vet.
Yeah, exactly. He's a vet. But for you, Cooper, I had Ben send me a couple of the next generation hats, which are actually really comfortable hats. I do like those.
New generation.
New generation. Sorry. Yeah, I said next generation. Now I'm all confused.
Very
New
tapped in.
generation track and field. When you talk about the whole thing with Nike taking care of you, it also seems as though Nike's kind of taking care of that individual branding that you're trying to create. And you're doing a very good job at that with having what was it? I'm going to mess up names. Newberry High School. Is that right?
Newberry Park. Yeah.
Newberry Park. Yeah. I'm so involved with the next generation and new generation.
You're so tapped into it.
Yeah, I'm so tapped into this hip lingo.
The guy
you guys did you guys did this Nike testing in the new shoe. So like, let's talk about that relationship real quick. I don't want to like talk about how much Ben does for the sport, that would just be crazy. But
he doesn't need his head any bigger, dude.
So what's your guys' branding, I guess, is what I'm going to get to as a professional athlete, because now you guys have the ability to market yourselves, market the things you want to market besides just the school uniform that you guys represent. So where are you guys going from here with your branding?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, like I said, it's not like New Gen is like what necessarily is associated with Nike. And I think, Ben and Carter were the ones that really kind of run that. I've just been like kind of involved with it from the start. So I feel like I have personal investment into it. And it's cool when they do things with Nike. I feel like I can get involved, which is really cool. And I got some shit for going and, doing this product testing stuff with the high schoolers, but it's a great experience. And honestly, I just want to be I want to be one of those people who doesn't feel like they can big time anyone. Cause at the end of the day, when I think about it, yeah, maybe if I was in the NBA or something, I could afford to, not take a picture and not sign an autograph or something. But at the end of the day, runners, it's not very cool at all. It's just it's about the lowest tier professional sport you can get into. And so, I want to be involved in the community just because when I was coming up, I felt like the people above me maybe didn't, when I was in middle and high school, I didn't get as much, outreach from some of the pro guys, and not that I had any reason to do that, but I feel like it's very beneficial and I can get people really excited about the sport. So I want to continue to be one of those people that's approachable, and actually reach out and have some. I feel like I'm young enough to where it's pretty relatable to, guys in high school and college still. So I just want to keep that pathway open to, having communication with people outside of just being oh, I'm a pro runner. I don't want to, I'm not going to stay with you. It's not cool. And big timing people is just it's not something that anyone appreciates, and it doesn't make you cool. So I feel like it's pretty easy to do just because I feel like since high school, I've always been into kind of reaching out to people and, being one with the community around me. So it's cool when you can do group runs and stuff, with Ben and new generation stuff. But then outside of that, I feel like there's kind of endless avenues you can take in terms of personal branding and community outreach. So I want to continue to sort of explore those.
So Cole, I would love to chat to you a little bit about the Olympic 15. So, you win trials. You're now the face of USA 1500 meter running. You're their only hope, is how I would say. And so, you go in, everyone's he's going to medal, he's going to win. You're going into probably one of the strongest, eras of 1500 meter running, deepest right now. Where was your head at when people are making these claims for you rather than you out there making those claims? What's that like?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's I'm confident in myself, and I'm yeah, I let me think it, but I don't know, dude, you don't have to say it out loud, because it's quite the feat. Probably the greatest feat in the sport is Olympic medal, and Olympic gold is that. That's the highest you can go in track. And yeah, I think of course, most of my fans would have watched me race like the trials, I guess, and saw my kick, and that is against like US talent, and seeing that, you'd think like, and not having really knowledge of it, was 335. I mean, yeah, guys had around 328 already in that year. But you see that and you're like, this guy's like, he can hang with anyone, he can outkick anyone. But I mean, I knew that I think I had the slowest PR going into the final, or at least into the Olympics, out of like, or I was like, yeah, 42nd out of 45. So I knew where I stood, but also was confident I could run something low 330s. And I was able to do that, luckily in the final. But yeah, that is like quite the daunting thing where people are hyping you up, which of course I appreciate all of it, but I don't know. Yeah, and then the fastest Olympic final in history.
I think especially in like, it's difficult because your first major championships, like I was 35th, I think, in London 2017. And like, I mean, I stood up next to like Kiprop, and well, Kiprop now is, technically I beat him, so maybe 34th, but you know, Central and all these like really good guys. And I was just like, holy shit, like, you know, I won NCAAs, but this is like a whole different thing. And it kind of got into my head a little bit. But I think as your first major and with the performances you put together, I think that's gotta go down as something pretty crazy, especially all that pressure on your shoulders. I mean, you jumped from like a guy that hadn't made a standard to a 6th in the world. That's pretty fucking good, and won championship. So what's next? Like where's the next goal? Obviously you guys have a home world championship next year. Like that's pretty exciting for all you Ducks, I guess. Like you guys pretty pumped for that, sticking with the same distances?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what everyone's planning on doing, but yeah, I definitely see myself as predominantly 1500 runner right now. And kind of my outlook now is, well, I just learned, honestly, like I was able to make it to the final, and I'm like, gave me a ton of confidence, but also made me aware of just how hard it is to not even like just make it out of make a US final, and then get top 3 in that final, and then you have these more rounds. It's just so hard, and you have to be so spot on in like 6 races in a row, and it's just like nothing kind of showed me that nothing's guaranteed. And I just like want to constantly remember that while I'm training, and just don't get too comfortable, because I mean there's people right there. But going forward, my goal is to just, I mean, why would I not want to win every race I'm entered in? Like, I don't see why that wouldn't be the goal from here on out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. What about you guys? Like, you know, how exciting is it for world champs next year, being where you're at? I mean, for me, like I said, London 2017 was my first major championships, and it was insane. Like I can't tell you how crazy that whole experience was. So I'm jealous of you guys, but I'll take trying to take down some Americans. And
you're gonna let them answer the question, Josh?
Can I finish the question, please, Dave?
I feel like you're just sputtering, and I also have a comment to make on previous conversation, but
mute yourself. And so I'm just saying, like, I think that's super exciting. So obviously the goals are to make the team, but I think when you make a US team, you're up there to go and try and battle for medals. So that's pretty exciting. So 5K for you, Cooper, is that the goal?
I'm trying to currently transition down, so might see if I can sneak into 800, 1500 if that doesn't work out, and if that doesn't work out, then last resort's to 5K. But currently the speed's not there, so yeah, probably 5K. But yeah, no, for sure. I think having in Eugene, it's maybe a little bit more pressure being in Duck, trying to make the team. But like once we do hopefully make the team, I've never heard like a crowd like Hayward Field when you're a Duck. I've told this a couple times, but the craziest thing I've ever heard was when I was a freshman. No, I hadn't done anything notable, but I like got the last spot in the NCAAs in the 5K, and I was standing with like Justin Knight to my right, like NCAA champ, And just like really big names, and everyone, they were like announcing everyone. We were like little claps, and then they announced my name, and it was just like a roar. And I was like, dude, nobody even knows who I am here. I can guarantee that. But they just like, you hear someone's a Duck, and immediately like you have 20,000 fans. So hopefully we can get there and kind of have that crowd backing behind us. But I'm excited. Yeah, like you said, like if you can make it out of the US system and be one of those guys to make world champs, you're always kind of have your nose in it. So hopefully that's that's the plan this year.
Go on, Dave. Unmute yourself.
Oh no, I was gonna let Charlie talk too on being an 8 guy, because like he made the Olympics too, Josh. Thanks for mentioning that. But he's also gonna be going for the World Championship team for Australia again. So what about you, Charlie? I mean, like these guys and you are all heading back hopefully to Eugene for World Championship. And is this something that's always been like, you make the Olympics, you represent Australia there? Is the next step just team after team after team, especially with it being in Oregon?
Yeah, once the standard's been set to representing your country, that's where it's at, and anything less than that is a failure to me. So definitely gonna stay with the 8, but I'm gonna be experimenting more with the 15. To be honest, I've always thought I was a 15 runner. He seems to think I'm a 15 runner. I train like a 15 runner, so like I just with how the season played out last year, it just made sense for me to keep going with the 8, and it was something new, and I was just doing really well with it. So I'm definitely not going to stop it, but I'm a 15 guy, I'm pretty sure. So like I'm definitely going to start to experiment more with that. And yeah, really looking forward to World Champs, but also Com Games for me is a pretty big one. That's about a week later. So really it's a big year for us Commonwealth athletes. So yeah, it's going to be pretty sick. Like to go from hopefully World Champs to Commonwealth Games is like something I'm really excited about. Yeah.
That was what I was going to ask you about the Com Games. I think, it's very difficult to explain to Americans really what it is. But, it's a massive thing for us, especially like we get to represent Scotland as well. So we're going to try and have as many Brits in the 15 final as possible. And you Aussies are going to be right on our tail. So that's going to be pretty exciting to be a part.
That'll be big. That'll be a real battle. Hey, because like we got Stewie, we got Ollie, hopefully myself.
Yeah,
like
we got Kenya in there. We got Kenya, Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales. So it should be good fun.
It's called the Commonwealth, so it really can't be that superior to anything. They could have chosen a better word than common. So nothing's going to come out of there being rare or.
Watch your mouth about the Queen, yeah.
I don't even know who the Queen is. Tell me her name. It's probably Elizabeth.
That's the one.
So a few things. I'm going to jump back. I literally, in all caps, when Josh was talking, said, let me jump in real quick, but he failed to see it because he was so caught up in talking about himself. But Cole, in that first round of the Olympics, you nearly knocked out Josh. And I don't think we should brush over that. You nearly knocked out Josh. And there's a photo of you just casually coming across. And you said, like, if you have a name, you have to protect it in like a post, like maybe a month or two ago. And Josh is across the line, like necking across, barely making it through. Was that a moment when you got to the Olympics of like, okay, like nerves are out, butterflies are gone, like I am here, I'm present, and I'm ready to kind of make through these rounds?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, can't really think much of it like something like that. I mean, because obviously goes and gets a bronze medal. Like, and I remember my teammate James West was like texting about it, or some other teammate was like, Kurt did not look good. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then my teammate James was like, he was like, rounds are weird. Like, I think he's still a medalist. And then it happened. I was like, damn it. Man, why was he right about that? Yeah, but that was definitely a moment where like, I mean, the first round, kind of my mentality, put it like super simply, like just kind of make it like easy in my head. I was like, all right, I got to get through the first round just because like, I don't know. I didn't come here to race once. And I was like, all right, just get through that one and then get to the semi. And pretty much if it's close, like send it, like do whatever you can to get to the final. Like, I don't even care if I'm dead in the final, like I need to get to the final. and that was kind of the mentality of that. And when I saw people like Philip Ingebrigtsen didn't make it through, and I mean, then I watched Centro didn't make it through, and I was like wow, like these are like really good guys, like legends of the sport, and like they're getting eliminated. Like this is legit, and I made it through, and it was definitely like pretty surreal, and I was able to see myself as like a much better runner than I previously saw myself as.
Oh, for sure. And you
did
probably,
it for the media.
What's up, Josh?
I did it for the media attention.
Yeah,
you did it for
comeback
the
story.
Articles.
Yeah, I mean,
it worked.
like the story. I mean, that's what I had to tell myself when it happened, was like the story's gonna be pretty good, and the Instagram post was pretty good. You know, you should have knocked me out when you had a chance. It was all written in the stars, mate.
If Larmar is still writing your social media, she should have gotten a bonus for that. But speaking of bonus, let's start talking about money. Let's start talking about banter. This has been a pretty conversational episode. We've got a lot of banter questions, and putting this on our story, putting it on our individual stories, definitely got people talking on what they want to know. We had to X a lot of these. A lot of them involved very risque and or inappropriate comments. And considering most of our audience is below the age of 18, we will not include any of those, just out of respect and courtesy to those mothers and kids that are listening. But here's a fun thing that we've never done before in the podcast. So season 5, we always talked about paying our guests, and you guys are one of the first big groups that we're going to be starting to pay. We kind of flirted with some money. So here's a chance. Here's our wheel. Here is money. Every different slot on this, and we'll use this part of the podcast for video. There is, I'll just read off some of that money that you can make. We have, let's go with the big number first, $500 a person. Okay. You go to the right of that, you have $50, $200, $125, $75. Here's a spin again for next guest bonus. So if you roll the spin again, the next person we have on with Josh, are we able to say who we have on coming up next? She's confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to say that?
We're getting Keely Hodgkinson on.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, we're going to have Olympic Silva coming in. That's Cooper just did ooh. So that's going to be a good episode. He'll definitely listen to that. Don't tell Rachel. But we're going to keep going on. We have $125, another $50, another $75, $150. And then next to the 500 is a little bit smaller. Okay. It's cut in half, but you can still land on that. Next to the 500 is video on your story about how much fun you guys had today. So maybe that's a spin again. Maybe that's just $0. But if one of you guys wants to spin the wheel now, we'll get into the banter bowl, and then we could do the last two, or we could all send the wheel now. What do you want?
So these are individual prizes. So
these are individual. So each of you will get a spin. So you guys might not make the same money around.
Wait, so do you spin it and I just get however much money it lands on?
So yeah, this will be a Josh spin. Ready? So I'll spin it.
Is this how much money you have to give me, Dave?
And Josh has just won $125. So if this is something,
we don't really know how much to pay our guests, so we're saying fuck it. We're spinning the wheel for it. Right? Who wants
you
to
guys
go
want
first?
is there a shoe-in amount, Josh, that we can just pay them not spin, or do they have to spin?
Nah, that's boring.
Okay. Does anyone want to spin now that starts with the first letter C of their name, or do we go into the banter bowl?
You can spin me.
Okay, Charlie, are you nervous? Do you want me to do a practice spin for you, or do you want me to say
Dave, to be honest, I'm fucking nervous. We ain't got $500.
Yeah, I'll predict 250.
Okay, I am going to spin it. I want to make sure that there is a likelihood chance of you being able to get. I guess there would be because it can bounce. Okay. I'm actually kind of sweating now. Okay, so for those at home listening, it might be a little bit loud. For those watching this video that we'll post, this is how much Charlie Hunter will get paid for being our guest. $200.
Oh, dang.
So Charlie Hunter, congratulations for the $200 payout.
That's our second biggest one.
Josh, who spun this?
Dave, switch on. That's a terrible spin.
Well, oh God. Okay. So
what
let's
was the
see.
one next to it? What's red?
200, 125.
Oh, good. Nice.
So you got another $75 for being on that spin. Either of you guys want to spin now, or do you want to wait?
I'll go.
Cooper? Oh God, I'm sweating again. I don't want to lose money. All right, Cooper Teare, this is how much you'll get paid for being a guest on the Sit and Kick podcast.
Come on, baby.
$500.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh,
He doesn't need it. Give it
come
me.
on.
Fuck off.
That's
Dave, are you serious, man?
maybe you should let Josh spin now.
I'm not trying to lose money.
Dave,
I'm not trying to lose money.
are you serious?
I'm not trying to lose money.
All right, this is setting me up bad. They got like the two
Yeah.
highest. I'm gonna whatever. Just let it rip.
I'm not trying to lose money, Josh.
Dollar one's gonna appear out of nowhere.
If you land on 2 or 500 again, you are done. It's coming out if it's 200 or 500, all this money is coming out of your pocket.
Is this tax deductible?
Oh,
This will
yeah.
be.
Is this a write-off? Yeah.
This is a write-off.
free
This is a
money.
guest
This is free
appearance.
money.
This doesn't go through your agent either. Let me make sure this wheel's all set up correctly. Now I feel like it's all broken from.
You want
using so
to
much-
rub that 500 out? Well,
Oh, come on.
Yeah, maybe
Now
that
we're
was a
fixing it?
one-time roll. Maybe that was a one-time spin. Cooper got it. All right, so it's here. We're down $700. Cole, do you want to spin now or do you want to wait till the end?
Yeah, spin it.
Spin it.
Let's get
Okay.
it going.
Cole
Yep.
Hocker, this is how much money you are making on the Sit and Kick podcast. $50.
Oh,
Yeah, boy.
So we are down $750. But it's all for the banter. It's all for the love. Hopefully for those listening, that sound wasn't too obnoxious. For those that have access to our bank account, which should be none of you, know that $750 will be taken out for this episode. So that sucks to
very
suck.
significant. Very
Take you out to
significant.
lunch, Cole.
yeah. I mean, you should. I that was the lowest on it, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
50 was
Well,
the
no,
lowest.
there's a zero.
There is a zero.
Okay, never mind then. I'm content.
All right. So maybe you guys still, maybe Cooper, you could still give some love on your store for $500. Maybe that's
I'll think about it. Well, we'll see once that cash hits.
okay. Josh, you want to transition to the Banter Bowl and tell first-time listeners what the banter is all about? Considering I need to check the bank, make sure we have money there still.
The Banter Bowl might become a little bit more serious now. You know, I might be throwing some real serious shit towards them now. But all right, well, let's start off easy then, shall we? Cooper, do you think your valuation went up more because of what happened at Cross versus a top 5 performance?
Yes. As much as I don't want to say it, I honestly, I got to give Connor Mance a shout out. I don't think he got nearly as much love as he should have after coming off of winning 2 back-to-back cross-country titles. I think that's like a feat that's very, hard to replicate, and you have to be spot on, and especially coming off of I think undefeated season. So yeah, I felt like I sort of overshadowed that without trying to. But yeah, and so I was actually talking to my parents and friends about it, and we were talking about how it was like the perfect scenario to not look shitty. So if it had been 100 meters longer, I might not have finished. But if it had been 100 meters shorter, maybe I would have finished 150th, and it just would have chalked it up to a bad day. But finishing right where I did, still beating 2 or 3 people, and but being able to make it across the line, I probably got 500 or 600 DMs. Man, that's inspirational. All this shit, and I was like, dude, I don't know where you're taking inspiration from that. I get it. It felt like a test of the human spirit right there during it. But it was also hilarious because so many kids sent me videos of them doing the same thing at their state championships. And so I got a lot of personal enjoyment out of it. So shout out to anyone who may have sent me a video of themselves doing it. Made me feel a little less outcast. But yeah, no, I feel like I got, a lot of recognition for that. And not that I necessarily wanted that advertised. I could have been absolutely fine with nobody even knowing that happened, just maybe seeing the results on paper. But I mean, yeah, I feel like I maybe have gotten a lot out of it, both just on the social media presence, but personally, it taught me some things that I really have to improve on. So I think at the end of the day, it was a good, not happy it happened, but like I learned a lot from it. So it was like a learning experience. But at the time, it was just terrible.
You still finished higher than Josh did, so or like
No,
finished
no, I
lower.
didn't.
Did you look, Josh?
Yeah, of course I fucking looked. I was 222nd or something, but he was like 230 or 240.
Nice. Well, sorry,
Yeah.
Cooper. I was gonna
Did you
try to
crawl?
have you back there.
Did you?
I was definitely at the speed of crawling, but I didn't really want to have the theatrics of it. You know, I didn't want to do it.
I get it. No, I get it. Downplay it. Was this in 2017?
This is 28. I don't know.
2017.
Because I specifically have like a deep memory passing you in 2017, and you just looking terrible. And like I wasn't doing so hot myself, but I was like, at least I'm not that guy.
That's fair. No, it's understandable. And to be honest, like those 2 10Ks back to back, man, I made it individually. You know, I'm not from this, crazy good school where, you always make it in cross,
UNM is not a crazy good cross school.
For the men's, we haven't made it in 7 years. Salt the earth kind of cross runner, me.
Salt the earth. Okay. Well, we're going to transition off that. And Charlie, I think this was submitted by an Australian, but what do you have to say about the pettiness and bickering that happens in American distance running?
Yeah, it's there. Like there's that real rivalry, but it's there in Australia too. Like back when I was there, it was all like Melbourne Track Club versus like everyone else, and like I think it's kind of funny. Like distance runners, middle distance runners are these scrawny like little string bean things, and we're also like hyper aggressive. And it's funny, like everyone tries to be alpha. It's just a natural thing, I think, for distance runners, but it's pretty similar everywhere. Like, what was the beef before? It was curve, yeah, that Centro shit, which was all made up
with the Cooper Centro and Cole Centro, like that triangle.
Yeah, it's all made up, but like,
yeah,
it's everywhere you go. I wonder what the next thing will be, but yeah, it's pretty funny.
Cole, you have a second chance to do this. You don't have to say it. What was your joke at the Bowerman Award night?
No, I literally, like, people have asked me that.
Yeah.
My mind was blank. I was like waiting for the joke to hit, and it just never hit. And so I kind of like, I don't even know. But it is a dangerous game. I mean, telling a joke in this day and age.
Yeah.
Shot.
Yeah, they panned the camera over to like the past Bowerman Award winners, and Grant was just like standing up like,
Yeah.
no, don't tell the joke. So you probably saved yourself a bullet there. Josh, you want to go ahead and hit another one?
Yeah. So I didn't really know about this, but did Cooper, are you dating Ollie's ex-girlfriend?
She had a name.
I don't. That was the question that was submitted. So.
Yeah. I guess.
They said, how did Cooper steal Ollie's girlfriend? Is there any beef there?
I don't think so. There was like they did their podcast, and there was like a point where he was talking about like AAA's thing. And like a lot of people, or like 2 or 3 people sent me a thing. It was like, hey, he was going in on you, like because of the Rachel thing. And to be fair, he brought up some points that were valid. So like, I don't think there's any, animosity or anything there. I don't know. I haven't really talked to him. We're not too good of friends. I don't really know him that well, just because I haven't really met him, but he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, and I want to kind of defend Cooper here too. I know that they've been flirting and talking for a long time. Him and Rachel is her name, Josh. I think their relationship started when Cooper did Like for TBH, and that was probably about 7 years ago. And since then, it seems as though Cooper and her have been able to really
wrote
hit
that,
it off. What?
She put in that comment. That's okay.
She didn't write that necessarily, or that you only drink vanilla lattes other than a hot cocoa every once in a while, but that's totally you, man. Like, I don't want to.
I can embrace that though. Like, to be fair, put Like for TBH. Who liked it? She liked it. So like that's.
Do you remember what your TBH for her was?
No, I don't know. I have no clue, dude.
I'll follow up just on the topic of love and romance. Someone submitted Charlie's shameless ab selfies. I don't get those, but do you often send those, Charlie?
I mean, when you got a rig like mine, you want to share it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, don't share it with my girlfriend because Olivia said Charlie's the hottest one out of the trio. She said even maybe the hottest one out of the call. So I took offense to that one. But yeah, I don't really know where to go from that. Josh, you want to lead another question? I'm just a little bit more insecure now.
Are you okay? It's all right,
I'm okay.
Dave.
I'm okay.
You'll be fine. You guys are all right.
Thanks.
Some guys submit. So who would win in a 2K right now? Cooper, Cole, or Josh?
Not Josh.
I was gonna say I'll take myself out right now. Let's just do Cooper and Cole. Not much in 2K shape.
2K. I don't even know if I could run complete a hard mile right now. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's up in the air.
maybe a 540 2K we could do. That would be, we'd be close there. We were hitting hills hard this morning.
Yeah.
Get there.
1K.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dave, you did a 2K though. So what did you run in your 2K, Dave?
508. It wasn't like ripping, but it was good.
Yeah, I heard you had one of the best pacers in the world. That's what I heard.
Josh literally is going like this, like hyping up the crowd, and then he shoots down a 63. Or like, what the hell are you doing?
Slowing you guys down. That's what the best pacers do.
You guys talking hills, this just made me think of a comment. I don't think I've ever told anyone this. But I was walking past the graveyard in Eugene and thought about jumping in one of them after the Olympic trials final. And just like, oh wow, someone's buried up this coffin. Might just hop in here and rest in peace forever. And then something caught the corner of my eye, and there's Cole Hocker doing hills after he won. And I go, do I talk to him? Probably not. I think I'll just continue walking in solitude, crying myself to sleep. Nothing again. I don't know what I'm adding to this banter bowl other than depression. So let's bounce around to, I'm out of this scene of the Olympics, so I don't have any beef in this. But Charlie, why did you stay in your room for 20 minutes while the Brits invaded your room at the village?
That was my question. I'll give some background.
Yeah.
So the Aussies had their block in the village, and it was the last night. This was, I think, maybe before the closing ceremony or maybe after, something like that. It was pissing down a rain, and all the Brits wanted to go into the, Aussies were having a big party, so we're like, fuck it, let's go. So we headed there, and they wouldn't let us in because COVID. Yeah, brilliant. And so we thought a good idea would be to go under the building and take the elevator all the way up. And so we figured out what room, I don't know if it was Ollie or something like that, and our goal was to go into their room, change all of our clothes into Australian clothes, and go back downstairs and then go into the Australian party. It was a pretty solid logic. And so we all head into this room, and we're in there for 5-10 minutes, and we're just bantering. We're trying to find clothes and stuff. And there was one door that was closed, and there was 8 of us in there. And we're like, that's kind of weird that door is closed. And then we heard a noise from in there, and we're like, oh shit, there's someone in there. And then out appears Charlie 10 minutes later, what's up, boys? How's it going? How did you not come out before that? We were in there just bantering and stuff. What happened?
Well, so for starters, I was on a phone call, I'm pretty sure, with my parents. And then I hear all these Brits in my room, all right, well, I'll finish off my call. And then it was pretty late too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I think it was, yeah. Let's just say, yeah.
I was I had pretty much the GV team in my living room. I was like, what are you guys doing in here? And then you had this terrible idea of putting on Aussie clothes. It was never going to work. Yeah, that's why I was on the call.
Okay. That makes more sense. We were just was he just sitting in there waiting for us to leave, or what? Fair
I
enough.
was tempted too. It was 11 o'clock. I was like, nah, I better get out there and say g'day.
I still think that idea was pretty solid.
It was not going to work.
Dave, you got any more?
Yeah, this is just going to be a quick one-word response from you guys, no context. Number 2 schools going into the NCAA.
Oh, as in
no context, don't explain why, but what's the number 2 school that you would have gone to?
Okay.
Stanford.
Smart guy.
Indiana.
We would have actually got into, or just that you'd want to?
Maybe, are you saying you wouldn't have gotten into the school that you wanted to?
Well, I'd say Harvard, but
yeah,
I would have got in.
Okay, fair enough. We'll just leave it at Harvard. We'll think you're a smart guy. So yeah, guys, we're wrapping up. We're already past an hour, but that's all right. It's been a good laugh, good money drain for us. Hopefully good banter for you. But at this point, we usually spit it back to you guys. And if you guys have any banter for us, this is your chance to do so, because likelihood is we won't have you back on the podcast until next year. You guys seem to be reoccurring stars. So speak now or forever hold your peace, and we'll name the episode and Venmo you guys.
I want to hear who your favorite new beast is, because I know there's a lot of new ones. Also, what your thoughts are? You guys sad that Spencer's gone?
I over time I enjoyed Spencer's company more. I think I had a tough transition with him, just because like overall like I didn't understand his role. But after getting to know him, I think he's a cool guy. I enjoyed hanging out with him.
He's an acquaintance for me.
Well, I mean, it's difficult because he wouldn't have been signed through just his athletic performances, right?
Yeah.
And so like in my head, I'm like, what the fuck else matters? Like I'm not someone who loves social media. I don't do it really very often. And so I didn't really understand it. But, you know, his role obviously was to transition into being a beast and showing off like our team and like kind of bringing his followers and pretty much just showcase the team and have a professional life out of it, I guess. But I just couldn't really understand why we were spending money on that at the start. But, you know, I have nothing against Spencer. It was not his fault. I think I just had a tough transition with that. But I really like Spencer. I think he worked hard, and that was just the main thing for me. It's like he came and he worked hard. And that was, I'm cool with him at that point. Dave?
Spencer, I said in the last episode, Spencer's an acquaintance. So there's that for that response. But in terms of new beast, I don't know, maybe in the next like month or so, my answer will change. So I'll just leave it at that.
They're also different. Like
they're all different, yeah.
Devin is so nice. Like he's the dopiest guy. He lives so far away from where our practice is. Like he doesn't know what's going on half the time, but you know, he's here, he's going to work hard. And he, again, is probably one of the most talented, you know, sprint /800 guys I've ever been around for training. You know, Willie's got a big mouth, man. He's been mouthing off, and you know, he keeps saying that we're going to sort it on the track, and we'll see what ends up happening. So that's interesting. And then obviously Laurie's doing great settling in with Nia. So yeah, it's difficult. But if I was to say, I would probably say Laurie just to cut the difference.
Yeah. My month delay is hopefully there's announcements and hopefully there's more additions that come our way that can change that answer. I don't even know if I can say that, but probably not.
Josh, I got a question. When are you going to grow the mow?
Oh, the what? The stash, dude?
Yeah, the mow.
Wait, that's fucking grown right there. Look at that. You know, it comes in blonde, and so you can't really see it. And then so I'm just like, you know, I'm out here at cut weight. You know what I mean? If you're not going to see it, let's take it off. So no, I don't know. I think it makes me a bit like a pedo, so I take it off.
I mean, you got a wicked Amish mustache, like
I was gonna say.
Oh, it's all about the chops, mate.
It's all about the chops.
That's where the speed comes in, mate. But yeah, one day, my brother has just the stash, and so it's like one of those things. He lives over there, I live here, and then when we come together, we just both take our beards off.
I mean, it's a rare combo. You don't see many people rocking the Amish beard. But
I know. I got that inspiration from that like Italian high jumper that does like half the.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's left? You know, oh, just the chops. So that's where it came from.
You should do the Jason Derulo like pencil line, kind of like jawline thing. You'd feel that.
Yeah, that could be the next big thing, but we'll see.
Anyone else got anything to spit this way before we name the episode and call it a day?
Can you sing the like the Dwight Schrute Michael rap when he wears the hat?
No, see, actually, I don't even get the reference. I don't even think I've seen The Office a handful of times, but that episode's not sticking out to me.
Aren't you good at rapping? Don't you like freestyle?
No, I don't want to bring this up because I've DM'd Cole for him to send me a beat and he still hasn't. So that's a little bit of
talking about that beat this morning with Jack.
Well, yeah. No, I swear it's in the works. I don't want to put out garbage, and I'm moving at a slower rate right now. But for holidays, got bogged down with family.
Yeah, bummer.
So Yeah, but no, I can just give it time. It's gonna come.
All right.
You,
fair
you
enough.
sound like me when Dave asked me to do something for the podcast.
And he still hasn't done the podcast work, so I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, rapping, it's just a hobby. I'm not gonna try to spice it up beyond what it is. But I'm very poetic.
Me and Cooper and some other teammates have been talking about doing a cipher for God knows how long at this point. So you might as well join in on that when it finally
I
happens.
will, and I'll wear this beanie as well, and I'll do some research on the Dwight and Michael rap just to get some inspiration.
Yeah, we're gonna call it the double XL fresh man.
Ooh.
Just the freshest man out there. So
I was gonna say, I don't know if Cole liked that name.
no.
I don't get it.
We're just fresh man. We'll workshop it.
Perfect. All right, and then typically, guys, at the end of the episode, we let one of the guests name it. But because there's so many of you, one of you guys can just do it. So Cole, when I say 3, 2, 1, when you have a name in mind, just go ahead and name it. So whenever you're ready.
Do I say I think then say it would be good, or do I just say it?
just say it. Just say it. Or just say, I think I got it.
Right there.
Yeah, I'll start. You know what? We're just gonna leave all this in. Cole, what's the name?
Nike aren't the only ones paying out big. Charlie, Cole, and Cooper cash out.
Oh,
Cash
that's
out.
dramatic.
And now we're out. Thank you guys for listening. Follow these guys over Instagram. Charlie doesn't follow Josh or I on Instagram. That's not personal. That's just
really?
business. Don't worry about it. But thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed this, follow them. Follow along their journeys. Follow along ours. We appreciate the listen. Josh, any final words before we head out?
No, this has been fun. But yeah, follow along everyone's career. It's going to be a big 2022 for the boys.
Anything else from you guys?
Thanks for having.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course.